Yep. Oh, I think we're on.
We are on.
Awesome.
Well, hello, everyone. We're currently running a test right now as we get ready to launch our big webinar series starting tomorrow. Wanted to make sure everything goes off without a hitch, but we're here to talk about a really awesome topic. So we're not just here to test, we also here to test and talk and chat. Hey, Sophie.
Hello, how's it going?
All right, we got a lot of people in here already. Wow, thanks everyone for joining. Okay, we need to get right to it then because people are here and excited about the future of work. So maybe drop in any questions you have as to maybe what made you curious about, when you hear AI and future of work, what makes you curious? Let us know in the comments so that we can actually answer some of your questions. But this idea was sparked because Sophie, you read a report today.
Yep, it's called How Well is Higher Ed Preparing Graduates for the Future? So I'm going to link that in the chat. And it's a Grammarly report. Grammarly for Education has some really good reports about communication and future of work. And so I got an email because I subscribe. And so this morning I was shocked by one statistic that said 92% of higher ed professionals said their institutions had effective career prep initiatives. So the people at the university said that they were doing a good job of that. And then businesses, on the other hand, said they believed college grads were well prepared for the workforce, and that's only 11% of businesses saying that they thought they were well prepared. So there's a big disconnect there, and I just thought that was shocking. But I mean, as someone who graduated in 2021 as a teacher, I'm not surprised, honestly. I think my student teaching and my practicums really prepared me a lot better than my classes, although my university experience was excellent. But I think there is that disconnect, absolutely.
I'd be so curious to hear if you're listening in and you would like to comment. It would be so awesome to hear, like, what do you think maybe some of those skills are that people are seeing a disconnect with? So like, I feel like one of the biggest ones just that I see in my own experience with work is people who are able to take initiative towards something. Like they're always waiting for somebody to give them the directions. And I think like that's kind of like a big part of school, right? You're going to get your directions. Here's your rubric, go off and now do this task. And so I find that self-initiation, okay, I have to do this task. There's no directions, especially right now with AI and like so many things changing. I think, like, hey, AI is here. ChatGPT can write essays. What do we do? That to me is such a great example of like just how sometimes we struggle to be able to like move forward. What do you think some skills are?
Yeah. You said taking initiative for sure. I'd love to hear from the chat because I feel like there's two big ones that I've noticed, and it also listed those in the study as well. So,
oh, really? Was initiative in the study?
Like not verbatim, but it
Yeah.
sounded like. There's one that starts with a C. I wonder if anyone can get it.
With a C.
Especially verbal, this type of C word. Verbal communication and public speaking was one. Yeah. Yeah. And just, yeah. Communication in general, I think like written, like email and but also, yeah, verbal and communication in that sense was a big one too. And then the other one I noticed, I don't know if it was mentioned directly, but I think, yeah, like related to initiative, just adaptability, right? So
Larissa says adaptability. That's another good one.
Yeah.
Sorry. Larissa said, I think it's tough for students to have grit sometimes, and collaboration is tough.
For sure. I wonder what makes you say that, Larissa? I'm curious. Either collaboration is very tough, absolutely.
And while she responds to that, one of the things I love that you brought up public speaking, because one of the things that I always think about when I think of like my niece and nephews, my nephew's 5, my niece is 2, and I always, as somebody who makes a ton of slide decks, like I must live in Canva, like for a really good my day, if not my week. For somebody who, and I actually really enjoy it. Like I love the process. I love the aesthetics. I love creating like the ideas and organizing them and all those pieces. But when I think about my nephew, I think a lot of times people think like, oh, they're never going to have those skills, or they're never going to, do that type of learning or that kind of analysis. And what I always say is it's like a yes, and because they can do that part so much faster. Whereas today, maybe speaking publicly and doing those things, like some people have these skills, other people don't. Tomorrow, for my nephew, nephew, that is going to be just as important as knowing how to read. Like it's going to be a non-negotiable for my niece and nephew to know how to articulate ideas, share
Mhm.
ideas, just get up in front of people.
Exactly. And like kind of what you're saying to like now AI might be able to outline your slide deck in 30 seconds, but yes, and like how are you going to take that and run kind of thing. Um,
Absolutely.
so awesome.
So this is an
And
interesting the collaboration is tough because to me
mhm,
that's another one that goes back to school with group projects. Did you like doing group projects?
I didn't like it in school. In university, I didn't mind it, um, but like if you think about, I think it was just because, oh my gosh, my dogs. I think it was just because one person always ended up doing the work, right? But no one was really taught how to actually collaborate well in a group and cater to everyone's strengths. So, um, yeah. What about you? Did you like group projects?
Well, speaking of strengths, so if you're here and you were here a little bit earlier, you know that we told you this is sort of our test as we get
Mhm.
ready to launch our webinar series starting tomorrow. And so, part of the webinar series, the very first thing we actually do tomorrow, so hopefully you'll be able to join, we will drop you a link right over here.
Mhm.
And tomorrow, one of the first things we're going to do is take a strengths assessment. It's one of my favorite strengths assessments. We'll announce it tomorrow inside the webinar. It's completely free. And what I love about this particular strengths assessment is that it talks about what energizes you. And when I was, so a really big part of the book is looking at a school, public school in San Diego called Design 39. And I'll never forget this line. I was a teacher at that time. I teach high school history. We didn't introduce ourselves. We'll introduce ourselves tomorrow. I used to teach high school history. And when I was teaching, I remember going and visiting Design 39 and seeing all the teachers work together. And I was like, how? Like, I work alone. Why am I working by myself? How are these teachers? Hi, Dr. Tanya. Hi, Vikas. Hey, it's so excited to see you guys here. It's like our first time doing this. So we're really excited. But when I went to go visit Design 39, I was like, how are these teachers all able to work together and I'm not? And when I went back, many years later to go and like research like the ins and outs of their school and how they had created what they did, there was one line that I thought was so powerful. They said, when we get together to collaborate, they said, we begin by asking what energizes you. And so that question allows everybody to start being a part of the group project or this collaborative project leading from a place of their strengths and versus just being assigned any kind of role or doing something that thing. So if I'm a person in a group and I have to do the data analysis, like you're probably going to fail the group project because it's not my strength. But I think that's like one of the hardest parts, because if you don't know what you're good at, then you end up doing something that like de-energizes you or that you're just not motivated by, that gets you stuck.
Exactly, exactly. And that test, like I found was so accurate for me, at least. And finding the thing that least energizes me. It doesn't mean I was bad at it. It's just that it's not what I would choose to do first. And actually I'm apparently I'm quite decent at it, but it's not what I love to do. Um, and so it's just interesting. I've never taken one of those tests before, but it was crazy how accurate it is. And now I'm having my whole family take it. So
That is awesome. Well, if you
yeah.
join us at the webinar tomorrow, you will be able to take it as well. And just so you know, the webinar series, one of the things we wanted to do is really think about you, right? I think, all of you spend a lot of time probably thinking about a lot of other people, whether it's your peers, the learners in your classroom and whatnot. We really wanted this webinar series to be about you. And so we talk a lot about, is AI going to take your job? Like, what does the future of AI look like? What is my career going to look like? And all these different kinds of things. That this webinar series is really about, what are your skills and strengths? What knowledge and experience do you have? What are the things that people are always asking you for? What are the things that people rely on you for? And how can you take that and package it into a small product, service, mini course that you can sell online without leaving your job? I think so many people, when they think about other career opportunities, they think it's like, well, if I don't, I have to leave my job to go and try this or to do something else. And so it's not about leaving where you're at, unless you want to. I mean, obviously you can, but a lot of times it's really about being able to find small mediums where you can dabble in different areas to be like, oh, wow, I can't believe I'm getting some traction here. Or like, oh my God, people are buying this, or like this is happening, or these different things are happening and whatnot. So that's really really what the webinar series is about, is how to take your knowledge, turn it into a profit without leaving your current job. And we have integrated so much AI. So of course, you're not going to do any of this alone. You're going to be using your AI tools to support you every step of the way. And basically each webinar that we do, so we're doing 3, we have a special guest coming to each one, but me and Sophie will be at each of these to really share their expertise with you. But looks like we have some awesome comments in the chat. Agree, Larissa. It is absolutely helpful to know everybody's strengths. And Loretta, oh my God. Okay, I got to give Loretta a shout out, because I have never seen anyone so committed to learning. And I was like, if every single person even just did 20% of what she did, we would all be better off in this world. Adjunct faculty, teaching career development. Oh, you know what? She did a lot with like the STAR method.
Did she really?
She built a chatbot for her students.
Oh my gosh, you'd be happy to know that that was, as soon as I started interviewing for jobs, all my mentors said star, 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 and it got me my first job. So such a good method. Career development. We used
Larissa, I totally agree. You're right. Teachers always do have side gigs, and I think we see it in like the news all the time. One of the things that's going to be unique about this particular side gig that we're going to be sharing you is going to be online. So the idea is that like you're not going out and like doing this. Again, if you wanted to, you know, obviously you can, but the idea is, how do you create something that you can sell online that's going to generate income for you and bring you a profit? It really is. And we're going to be using design thinking. You know, I think, you know, sort of like, you know, the typical thing to do, I think, would have been like how to use design thinking in your classroom and things like that. The book's going to take you through that. Like you're going to get all of that anyways. This one, we really wanted to be special, make it just for you. If you're thinking about your career, you're thinking about other opportunities, what's out there for you, because you know, we say this in the book, but we believe schools are going to be replaced. Schools are outdated. Schools are going to be replaced, but teachers who prioritize relationship building, creativity, teachers who do what teachers do best, what we know and feel when we think about like that one teacher that we've had in our lives. If you're lucky, you've had many more. Those people are just simply irreplaceable. And there are going to be many, many, many places for you inside K-12, but also outside K-12. And we want you to be aware of those opportunities. That's what we're going to be talking about.
1,000%. I liked how you said it's not going to be something you have to go and leave your house for and whatever. And it's going to be something that caters to your strengths that you already have. So it's not like you're going to have to go out and learn a new skill. I know when I started my side gigs, I was serving at a restaurant, and then I tried all these different online business models, but none of them actually catered to my strength. And it wasn't until I did content creation and TikTok, because my strength is a public speaker and a teacher, I didn't actually have to learn any new skills. It was the skills that were already inside of me. And so I think that's another really beautiful thing about design thinking in this respect, that it's those skills that you already have, and it's just amplifying them out to the world and making a difference through that. So I think that's really what sets it apart, and it's super exciting.
Well, why don't you close by telling us about that a little bit? Give them a little preview into that transition. Give them a little preview into what you do now. But more importantly, give them a little preview into the transferable skills, because you just shared 2, right? I was a teacher. I can create content and teach. I can speak. Give people a little insight into that. And then we'll
oh my gosh. Transferable skills as teachers, I think we have the most ever. Whether it be, I mean, if you can manage up to 120 students, if you're teaching high school or a section, like on your own with no teammates, with no help, like that should say to anyone in any industry how crazy you are at organization, at relationships, at executive planning. Like it's just crazy. But I think teachers, honestly, our biggest strength, and one of my good friends and mentors was a CEO at Paper, and he actually hired a lot of former teachers. He said the number one thing is the fact that teachers are such good communicators, and they can take all these big complex ideas and make them so that anyone can understand them. And whether that be in accounting and engineering and product development and software, like doesn't matter. It is such an important skill that a lot of people don't have, but teachers inherently have it. So I think that is such a versatile skill that can be really translated anywhere. And for me, it was through video. So
I love that so much. I mean, I wonder if it's like maybe because they have to do it for like 180 something different people.
Yeah.
Who knows?
And, yeah. Yeah. And also do it to class of 30 kids who don't really want to listen to you. So it
There you
takes
go.
extra. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. This so resonates with what Max at 100 School talks about the 100 days. I mean, yeah, that is amazing. Touch with first principle thinking. Okay, I love that you said first principles thinking because that is a really big part of our webinar series and an even bigger part of the book because so many things when we think about innovation and we think about technology, it's always about like, okay, use this, use this, use this, do this, do this, do this, like a little, like always like giving something to you and being able to be like, no, wait a minute, let's peel back the layers. Let's go
Mhm.
back to the basics. What do people actually want? What do people actually need? That's the process you're going to use as you think about building your digital product or service. And if you are like, I have no clue how to do that, but maybe you're watching, or maybe you've bought a ton of other people's products and services, or you're seeing ads for other people's products and services, we want you to know that you can create yours as well. But we're going to start small, like little mini, take that sort of first step. Thomas is here. Being a business owner has made me a better teacher.
Oh, I
Education and
love that.
thinking. Yeah, I completely agree. I totally agree. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. This was so much fun. I can't believe we had so many of you join us here live. Thank you for taking time this evening. We put a link into the chat for the book. When you pre-order, you get to join our webinar series. And we look forward to doing this again tomorrow.
Yes, absolutely. Our first webinar is tomorrow. So we will see you then. And hopefully, if you haven't signed up already, we would love to see you there. I just shared the link one last time. And thanks again, everyone, for joining us.
Bye.
Bye.